everybody. Welcome to Jackalope Fire. Once again, coming at you, sort of live, sort of not.
In person.
We're in person, yeah. Today is the first official day of Jackalope Fire TV. We kind of started it last weekend, but today's the first official day of JoF TV. And so I'm Chuck. I'm one of the Jackalopes, and with me, as usual, is my darling sister, who is the best sister ever created on this earth. With me is Scylla.
Hi, y'all.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. The reason that you are the best is good. There are many reasons. But
Countless.
The specific reason why today you are the best sister on life is because of the really awesome birthday gift that you showed up with today. Yesterday, for those of you that don't know, yesterday was my 36th birthday. Today is May 25th, so I was born May 24th, 1977. I am now 36 years old.
You're old.
Yeah, I made it through most of the day at work without people pestering me about it. This one cute girl. We talked about her last week, so her name will still remain nameless. She will remain whatever. We're not going to tell you May's name. She came up to me yesterday, like right as I was getting ready to leave. She goes, "Is it your birthday?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" And I said, "Well, some people knew, some people didn't. It's no big deal. It's just another day." She goes, "How old are you?" I said, 29. And Ron goes, "Yeah, how many times have you been 29? 7." So, this is my 7th 29th birthday, apparently.
There you go.
But no, I told her 36. She goes, "You shouldn't have said anything. I believe 29. I said, "With all this gray in my beard?" She goes, "I know people that are 20 and have gray in their beard." That's an excellent point, because I had gray in my beard when I was pretty young.
A lot of people prematurely gray these days.
Exactly. I'm more gray in my beard than I am on my head. And we won't talk about the nether regions. That's why I keep them shaved. You can't see it because I never take my clothes off in front of you, and be grateful. But from about mid-thigh to about mid-belly, I just shave all that. Looks really weird. But, I don't have to worry about gray hairs. What?
Visual images I don't need.
It's also not true.
Visual images I still don't need.
Because you see how hairy my lower legs are. Could you imagine if I shaved mid-thigh? That looks so stupid.
I figured you were lying, but I didn't need the mental image.
Oh, jeez. Anyway. I am shaving this again, although I haven't shaved it in a couple of days, but I decided to keep it. Instead of the Grizzly Adams look that I was sporting for months, I've decided to actually keep my beard in check.
Which looks much better in my opinion.
I need to shave the open spots, but yeah.
So we went to breakfast this morning.
We did. We went to IHOP and had a fairly decent breakfast. I like IHOP's breakfast.
I took you out for your birthday because I'm an awesome sister.
Wait, I didn't tell the story about the gift.
And
we hadn't gotten to that part yet.
Okay.
So again, yesterday was my birthday. And my darling sister Scylla comes in with a gift. Now, I knew she was coming with a gift, and so I expected it, but I didn't expect it to be what it is. And it's behind you. We're actually recording this in the same room, but we decided to still do it as a hangout, so we have the video component. So my sister, who loves me and knows me so well, got me a bowling shirt. Now, you might be thinking, a bowling shirt? Come on, that's kind of cheesy. Yeah, but look at the bowling shirt she gave me. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. Hang on.
Yeah, pull it back a little.
I'm gonna move my mic so y'all won't be able to hear me. In theory. There, that gets the whole image, right?
Yeah, so you can see it.
Okay. So my sister got me a new bowling shirt, and it's from The Big Bang Theory, and it's the Wesley Crushers. It's the official Wesley Crushers bowling shirt, and that is just super awesome. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit, and that's okay. She's able to return it and get a slightly bigger size, but I did take it out of its packaging so I could see the whole thing, and it is pretty damn awesome. I mean, it's one of the cooler gifts I've ever gotten. So, and it shows how much my sister knows me, because it's not something I would have. It's not something I ever would have bought for myself, although I've been wanting one for a while. So I'm kind of glad to now have it. So
I'm good with gifts.
That's right.
You saw what I got Mom for Mother's Day.
I did, and she cried a little.
I'm because of that, I listen to people and pick up on little things they may not even know they have said.
Right.
And I file all that information away until I need to buy a gift.
That's right. Now, part of the problem with doing this on camera is y'all are going to see me drinking. But at least it's Dr. Pepper and not beer. Yeah. I saved the beer for when I'm not on film.
It's okay. I have a Gatorade that I'm probably going to drink at some point through this, so it's all good.
There you go.
Anyway,
we went to breakfast this morning.
I took you to breakfast since it's yesterday was your birthday.
For those of you wondering, I had a breakfast sampler with my eggs over medium.
I don't think
they cared. Nobody cares.
There's a much more interesting part to this story.
Yes, I know, and I realize that you're getting to that, and I'm just messing with you, trying to delay your gratification.
Our waitress
was a dumbass.
Extremely.
She was nice enough. I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not that she was nice; she wasn't a bitch.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't call her nice.
Her personality wasn't. She wasn't anything really. No. She was neither.
She was blah.
Yeah, exactly. She was very blah, and that in and of itself is not a bad thing, except.
So, she hovered. She was a hoverer. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that, and I part of that's because she had all of her tables were in that room. We were in the back room, and all of her tables were in that room.
No, but I felt like she was hovering around us.
I think that's just because of where our table was. If we'd been further back, I don't think she'd been hovering.
So we order our food and we get our food.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 minutes later?
Yeah, I mean, barely into the meal.
She brings us the check.
Yeah. First she swings by, can I get y'all anything else? No, we're okay for now. And then 2 minutes later, sure enough, can I get y'all anything else? No, I think we're good right now. Okay, well, here's your check and, just pay it whenever you're ready.
When we'd taken 5 bites of our food?
Yeah, I was halfway through my breakfast. I wasn't even close to being done. And now I've worked as a server in an IHOP, for that matter. Not just any place, but I've actually worked as a server in IHOP. That would never have flown at my IHOP. My boss would have reamed me out good for doing something like that. You don't want to rush the diners until they have been sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes after they're done eating. Then you can start saying, swinging by every few minutes, hey, can I get you anything else, even if you've already dropped off the check. Now, we both got irritated about that.
Yes.
And we both mentioned like you had said, I was tempted to go ahead and order something else just because she was going to leave the check. And so when she did come by, right as I was getting done with my meal, she swung by again. And I said, can I go ahead and get a glass of orange juice? Which means she had to take that ticket that she had then printed out, go out, add something to it, and reprint the ticket. And I like orange juice, but I did it just to be a little mean. I'm not going to lie.
And I was perfectly okay with paying for the juice.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
to do it.
So. Anyway.
And I'm not going to lie, it did affect your tip.
Absolutely, and well it should. We conferred on it. She got a tip, and she got more of a tip than tax. The general rule is if you're tipping, the general rule is somewhere between 15 and 20%. If you just take the sales tax on the meal, and double it, that's usually a fairly good tip. That's a fairly standard tip. You can add a little bit to it. Like I usually say, I will double it and then round it to the next 50 cents. So like if it comes out to a $4.30 tip, they get $4.50 from me. If it's a $4.75, they get $5.
Right, I'm the same way.
Because I like nice even numbers.
Me too.
I cheat. But we talked about it, and we decided not to pay her the standard doubling of the taxes. So she did get a reduced tip because of it, but she still got a tip, so she can't really complain about it. So.
And she got that much of a tip because I did confer with Chuck. I would have probably left her even less than I did.
Yeah.
But Chuck convinced me to leave a little more.
When it comes to tipping, and part of that's because I used to work in the service industry, I am a generous tipper to begin with. But I do believe that you need to earn at least some of it. So I start off with double the tax. And if I don't feel you lived up to basic expectations of a server, I will reduce that tip. If I feel that you did what a normal server should do, I will keep it right around there. If I feel you excelled, then I will give you more. I've been known to even triple or quadruple the tax. I've been known to leave tips bigger than the check itself. Although that's usually in a bar and she's hot with big tits. Not always, but usually. My favorite story about tipping, though, and I since I knew we were going to talk about this, I wanted to share this. When I was in the Air Force, and so this is many, many years ago.
Many years ago.
Many. My good buddy Brandon, who now lives in Missouri, married, has kids, all that neat stuff. Brandon and I were talking about tipping, and whenever he got crappy service, his general rule was whatever's in my pocket. He didn't keep change, or not change, but he didn't keep cash in his pocket. That stayed in his wallet. So whatever was in his front pocket. And I swear one time he pulled out a paper clip, half a stick of chewing gum, a ball of lint, and like a dime. And that was the tip. It was left in a little pile on top of the check. That was the tip. And I laughed, I can't tell you, for days we laughed about that. Because every time we saw someone and we went out to have dinner or whatever, I had to bring it up. Let me tell you about the last time Brandon and I had dinner together and he left the tip. So, I think, me personally, again, having worked in the industry, I think that was pretty shitty. But it does get the message across.
Yeah, a pretty clear message.
That's right. You did not live up to your expectations. You suck. Here's your proof. I think the worst tip I've ever received was when I was working down in Brownsville. The IHOP down there, it's Brownsville, Texas. It's right, like 2 minutes.
It's a border town.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 minutes from the Mexican border.
It is literally a border town.
And these little old Mexican couples, literally Mexican, I'm not saying this as derogatory, they're literally from Mexico, coming across and eating at the IHOP on Sunday mornings before or after church. They would leave this like quarter or 50-cent tip. That's a lot of money down there. Across the border, 50 cents goes a long way. On this side of the border, it doesn't. So what they thought when they thought they were being generous to us, it was just shit. And I did. I literally got a quarter tip one time. And I was like, you have got to be shitting me. I busted my ass for this table. And that's when servers get offended. When you undertip and they know they did good service, that just pisses off a server. And if they ever have you again, you're in for a world of shit. You may not even know how bad they treated your food. You got to be careful about your tipping. But at any rate, one of my fellow servers explained the whole concept to me because it's the first time I'd ever had that shitty of a tip. And she said, you got to understand. And she explained it, and she was right. A quarter or 50 cents is a lot of money in Mexico, even on a border town. And in America, it's just not. So their whole concept of money is different.
Right.
So I get that. It still kind of sucked.
It's definitely a cultural thing.
Yeah, it is. It's very much a cultural thing. It still kind of sucked from my point of view, but I kind of understood from there, so you have to kind of let it go. But anyway, it's different. We're in Austin. She's not directly from Mexico, clearly. Getting shortchanged on a tip should send a message to her. You did not live up to our expectations. We may have actually tipped her too much.
I think we did.
But it's my birthday weekend. I'm in a generous mood.
So, we do have other stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
I'm a pepper.
Dandy little notebook. Are you hoping that we start getting endorsements from Dr. Pepper?
Hey, you know what? I'll do anything I can. Shirt.woot, do you want to endorse me? I'll wear your shirts. I'm wearing one now. Y'all can't see it, but it's my Procrastination University shirt. Anyway. Quick, does this make you dizzy?
Dude!
What?
Makes me dizzy.
Yeah, well, what do you want?
So, God, so much to talk about. We already have told them about JoF TV.
Right.
I do want to talk a little bit more about what you can expect to see from JoF TV.
First of all, JoF TV is our new channel on YouTube, in case
Yes.
that's not clear.
Right.
That's what we're calling our YouTube channel.
Yes, JoF TV is on YouTube, and it will have video versions of our podcast, but it'll also have more than that. It's a way to kind of get inside the Jackalope.
Like getting inside a tauntaun?
What?
See, you're not a Star Wars fan. Every Star Wars fan got that joke. Empire Strikes Back. There's these creatures that they ride in the snows of in the snowy deserts of Hoth, and they're called tauntauns. Han's tauntaun dies while he's trying to find Luke. He finally finds Luke. Well, actually, he finds Luke as the tauntaun collapses. So he cuts open the tauntaun, his belly, and shoves Luke into the tauntaun's belly, because the body heat from the tauntaun was going to keep Luke alive. He was near frozen to death, so he put him in there to stave off hypothermia, and then built a shelter and all that. But it's actually pretty funny because he uses the lightsaber to slice him open. He goes and he shoves Luke in there and goes, "And I thought they smelled bad on the outside." Anyway.
Okay, nothing at all like that.
Nothing at all like a tauntaun?
No.
Okay. I don't know that they want to be in our heads.
Basically, we'll post videos somewhat at random. If we're out and about and we have an interesting exchange and it gets recorded, it'll be on JoF TV.
There you go.
Basically just whatever bullshit we decide to post.
Yeah, so whereas our audio stuff has been mostly just podcasts and quick shots, we're going to be moving all of that to a video format as well. You'll still have audio options for those.
Yes. The audio podcast isn't going anywhere.
Right. So if you want to listen to audio, it's still going to be there, but there will also be a video component to each of those, as well as some things that are video only.
Right. Exactly.
And we're actually both kind of pretty excited about it. Once we started doing this last weekend, we realized how cool it was, and we've gotten positive response from the first one.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of potential here that we've been missing out on that I didn't realize.
Right.
So
we also didn't realize how easy it was going to be to get started doing it.
Yeah.
And that's now this is we're in the early days of this. Right now, when we're doing this, it's going to be through Google Hangouts for now. That may stay. We may change it up. We'll have to wait and see. We're definitely going to be looking towards a higher def version in the future, just not right now.
Yeah, just like if you're one of our listeners from the early days of JoF, back before we got these microphones and everything.
The growing pains of audio.
We had some growing pains. There was a lot of trial and error and some really bad episodes with really bad audio.
Yeah, there was a lot more error than we would like.
So
there have been some podcasts that never got posted just because one of the mics didn't work at all, and we didn't know it till it was over, and we weren't about to redo it.
Just like we went through those growing pains with the audio, I suspect we'll have little flubberies with the video too. So definitely bear with us as we try out this new medium and see what it can do for us and grow it. And hopefully you'll like what we do with it.
Yeah, here's hoping.
So there is...
the one thing that Hangouts doesn't do the way I would prefer, I can switch between our videos manually. And the way we're recording the audio, it's not auto-switching, but Hangouts will do an auto-switch with the audio if we're both recording audio into Google.
Right.
We're not doing that right now because we're kind of playing with how we want to do the audio. But anyway, what I would like it to do is one image, like one big, just both of us side by side, without it switching back and forth. I wish it gave us that option when there's only 2 or 3 people involved. But like I said, this is we're early days yet. We may find better software that we like better, especially if we both get a nice high-def camera, because you already have one, I don't.
This is definitely something we're tinkering with, and we'll, play with it and see where it goes. You can find the latest podcast in video format embedded on the Jackalope Sapphire homepage right next to the audio version. And, of course, there is going to be a link to our JoF TV channel. In fact, you may have noticed that there's been a lot of changes to the website, and more coming. You won't see it yet because I haven't published it at the time of this recording. So if you're going there now, Chuck, you're not going to see it.
Oh. Because you could tell I was.
Yeah. I could tell that's where you were headed. It's not up as we're recording this. By the time this is posted, it will be published.
Tease.
Yeah. So, if you're listening to this, you can go there now. Check it out. There's so much happening. Excuse me. The new media of JoF TV. Other projects we're launching. It felt
I'm making faces at her, and she could see it both across the computer and in her screen. She can't get away from it.
Something else that we're launching, and again, this is another one of those things that we're kind of trying out and still tinkering with, so it's by no means in its final form, is the JoF store.
I'm kidding. I've seen that one.
So, for all of our loyal listeners out there, if you want to show your Jackalope pride with our brand new logo, which you can see on our Twitter, Facebook, and homepage, it's our new logo designed by me.
And it's a hell of a logo. I'm really digging the new banner, the new logo, and everything. We've got a whole new look coming at you. It'll all be live today.
And if you want a T-shirt or some other piece of merchandise reflecting that look, show your Jackalope pride, we have a Cafe Press store.
That's right. Cafe Press. What is it? It's cafepress.com/Jackalope Sapphire, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
All spelled out. And we're going to have baseball caps, Kindle, iPad, iPhone cases, laptop skins, T-shirts, aprons, diapers, diaper bags, all kinds of shit.
A baseball jersey.
Yeah.
And if there's something that you want with our logo that you don't see there, like I had someone ask me about like an insulated mug.
There you
to-go cup. So that's probably something I'm going to add to the store. So if there's a product that you want our logo on that you don't see there, let me know, and I'll see if I can get it.
Yeah. Pretty much anything that you can get through Cafe Press currently with other stuff on it, we're going to have available with our logo on it.
Yeah. So
if even if it's not on the page, if you know that it exists, let us know. We'll be glad to add it so you can order it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will cow to the masses.
I picked the products that I personally like the best, which is why there's so much baby stuff there, even though we don't cater to infants.
And let me tell you, when I saw the diapers, I rolled my eyes.
I just had this image of one of my little toddlers having a Jackalope Sapphire diaper cover.
Yeah, still. I don't know that I want my logo to be on the ass end of a baby.
I would love it.
It'd be different if it was the ass end of some hot chick.
There are underwear.
I get that.
Panties. We could do panties.
There you go.
A thong.
It would...
Thong.
The only problem with that is the word fire and down in the crotchal area might be misconstrued. I'm just saying.
My favorite one of the products is actually the sippy cup. I love the sippy cup.
My favorite's going to be that hat. The more I think about it, because we've been talking about different things that we're going to do, and one of the things we're going to have, it's not a right this second, but it will be later. It's a black cap. It's got an oval option for the image. It's going to be it. If we do it the way we're talking about, it's probably going to be the JoF TV logo.
Yeah, official JoF TV hat.
And I think that's going to be, and that's probably the first one that I'll buy from the store. And that's the cool thing. We're going to be buying stuff ourselves.
Yes.
And then the money comes back to us.
Well, some of the money.
Some of it. We're not making a whole lot of markup on this, folks.
I really am keeping the markup as minimal as possible because cafe press prices aren't cheap. I know that. I get it.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They are very proud of their T-shirts.
Yeah. So if the prices that you see, if you think they're too high, I'm truly sorry. That wasn't set by me. There is very, very little minimal markup on those. So we are not making a ton of money. But, if you can afford it, please buy a simple T-shirt or something. Help us spread the word of the Jackalope. They're very cool. The front of it has the Jackalope sign, our Jackalope Crossing logo. The back of the T-shirt says Jackalope's Afire.
And let's face it, folks, the more money we make off of this, like she said, we're not making a lot here. The markup's very little. But the more product we sell, the more money we're going to make, and the faster we'll be able to start doing it on our own and saving you money in the long run.
Yes.
So for those of you that are getting in on the ground floor, yes, you might spend a little bit extra money to support us, but in the long run, it'll work out for both you and the future listeners.
Yeah, in an ideal world, we'll get the stuff printed up ourselves at a much cheaper cost, therefore selling it to you at a cheaper cost. But that's not where we're at yet. So
right.
We need your help to get there.
Absolutely.
So I guess you could say this is kind of like our own Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's our own version of a Kickstarter.
So anyway, we have JoF TV, we have the official JoF store, we have the new website, the new logo. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Jackalope Land.
Yeah, Jackalope Land is definitely changing, and it's all going live this weekend. Mm-hmm. It is Memorial Day weekend. It's a long weekend for us, so we get to tinker around with it. Well, it's a long weekend for some of us. Some of us have to work. 50% of us have the day off. 50% of us have to work that day. And this 50% is not happy.
The daycare is actually closed. I'm psyched.
I got to work the whole damn day. Actually, it's not even... My normal schedule is 7 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. I can't even... I didn't even get a chance to get my normal schedule. I have to go in at 9:30 and work till 6 on Memorial Day. Which means I'm going to be sitting there twiddling my fucking thumbs for 8 friggin' hours.
That sucks for you.
Just because the Canadians need support.
Fuck the Canadians.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada.
So anyway.
I'm kidding. I know we have listeners in Canada. I'm totally kidding.
We're totally kidding. We love our Canadian listeners. We love all of our listeners, to be honest. We don't really care where you're from. We love you. But... Canadians are a special breed, let's face it.
So,
I know you're kind of bummed that we couldn't go see Star Trek this morning.
A little bit.
Our original plan was for the whole family to go and see the new Star Trek film, Into Darkness, today, and then do this recording after that. But unfortunately, because of, let's face it, our dad changing his mind, we're actually going to go see it tomorrow.
Which we gave him all kinds of shit for, just so you know. When I got home after you had texted me that day and said we were moving to Sunday, when I got home that day, I walked into the living room, and both the parents were home. And I'm like, so, we go into the movies on Monday now?
Can't do it Monday. I got to work.
So, yeah, we're going tomorrow, and I'm going to see the new Star Trek movie.
So you can expect us to talk about that next time.
Yeah, along with the new movie that I just bought today.
Right, we're gonna be reviewing Batman the movie. Lego Batman the movie. DC Superheroes Unite. It's basically a Lego. It's based on the Lego Batman 2 video game, which was the DC Superheroes Uniting. It's in fact using that same storyline, but they've added new footage to make a full feature-length movie. I'm
way more psyched about watching this than I should be.
Yeah, you really are. We're going to be watching that right after this, and then we'll talk about it next weekend.
Yeah.
But what did we see this week? Oh, Doctor Who.
That's where I was going next.
I knew there was something video related that we had done recently. Yeah. You could hear across the world all the Whovians' heads going.
That's kind of how I felt when I saw it. I was
John Hurt.
What the hell? I was like, what? Did I miss something?
See, now, as I stated last time we did this, I was 2 weeks behind. So I watched The Crimson Horror, Nightmare in Silver, and The Name of the Doctor back to back to back, all Sunday afternoon. So it was a big afternoon for me, and I rather liked each of the episodes. A lot of people didn't like the Nightmare in Silver episode. I liked it. I thought they did pretty good, and I love the new design of the Cybermen, the upgraded Cybermen where they can haul ass.
I honestly liked all of the episodes with Clara.
You know what it reminded me of watching that episode? You're gonna laugh. I promise you will. Ready? Are you ready to laugh? Okay. The episodes of Ninja Storm where the Megazord would go into the slimmed down version, the super speed
Lightning
Megazord.
mode.
Lightning mode, thank you. Lightning mode Megazord, and that's what the new Cybermen remind me of.
I can kind of see that.
They're trimmed down. They're not as bulky. Even their helmets were less bulky than they have been in recent years.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job of re-imaging the Cybermen. But anyway, getting to the big news, the final episode of the season did air. We now know,
and everyone's head exploded.
Right. We now understand the mystery that is Clara. We understand how she could be in so many places in his timeline.
The Impossible Girl.
She is the Impossible Girl, and now we know why it was possible after all. What we don't know is the story behind John Hurt as the Doctor.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, and I keep telling people, when I see John Hurt, my brain immediately goes to one of two things. I think of Harry Potter, because he played Mr. Ollivander, the guy who creates Harry's wand. He's the premier wand maker in England. And then I also think of Alien with Sigourney Weaver all those many years ago, and I think of the chestburster scene because he's the first character in cinematic history to have a chestburster. And that also naturally leads me to Spaceballs, because he sort of reprised that role in Spaceballs. He eats the special, chestburster comes out, and he's laying there right after it comes out, and it's staring at him. He goes, "Oh shit, not again," and dies. It's one of the best scenes
I was
in
kind of
a Mel
amazed
Brooks
that
film.
they got John Hurt for Doctor Who.
They get a lot of big names for Doctor Who. I mean, let's face it. This is the second Harry. No, I'm sorry. It's the fourth Harry Potter alumni to appear in Doctor Who since the relaunch. Because we had obviously David, who played the Doctor. He was in the fourth Harry Potter movie. John, is it John Cybex, the Cybus or whatever, the guy who creates the Cybermen from the alternate universe? He plays David's father in the fourth movie. The Christmas Carol episode was had his name escapes me, but it's the guy that played Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies, the second Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies, and now John Hurt played Ollivander. So, unless I'm missing somebody, that's four right there that have been in both Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and relatively big names already. People love to cameo on Doctor Who. That's just the way it is.
It's a British thing, I guess.
It really is. You know, it's a lot like when we get big names on small TV or smaller TV shows out here. Like, although you're more likely to see TV stars jumping shows. Like, for example, when Cougar Town was still on ABC, there was a season where each of the guys had a cameo on another ABC show. Like the guy who played Grayson appeared on Castle. He walks into the scene. He's a uniformed officer. He walks into the scene, hands a folder to one of the guys, either Ryan or Esposito, I forget which. But then he kind of does this little smirk towards the camera and then turns around and walks off. That's it. That's all he did. He didn't say anything. It was just a quick little walk on. You see that people love to do things like that. But the Brits, it's all about Doctor Who.
And this is really quite big, though, introducing John Hurt as the Doctor. That was
Right.
big.
And of course, that's leading directly into whatever the storyline for the 50th anniversary is.
Right.
Which we now have to wait. I love the fact that they're waiting, simply because Doctor Who premiered on a Saturday, November 23rd, 1963. This year is the 50th anniversary, and November 23rd is going to be on a Saturday. So we're going to see the new special on the day of the anniversary. And I think that is beyond cool, because they haven't been able to do that in previous years. Even the 20th anniversary didn't air the Five Doctors special. It didn't air on the anniversary. It aired a couple of days later. It's the only time that American audiences got to see the special before British audiences, because WGBH up in Chicago, which had the PBS license at that time, aired it on the actual 20th anniversary. They actually aired it on November 23rd, but it was in the middle of the week. And the BBC didn't want to do that. They wanted to air it on Saturday to stick with their normal Saturday schedule. So they this year being able to do that is pretty damn cool.
That's cool. Any predictions? Because obviously we're not doing spoilers. Chuck doesn't know spoilers. And quite frankly, now, beyond the few spoilers I've stumbled across, I'm not actively looking anymore.
Right. And
so,
how much do you know about the Star Trek movie that's coming up? You haven't seen it. How much do you know about it?
That it exists.
Okay, but you don't know any details about the movie. See, when you see the movie, maybe not so much you, but I know Dad's going to geek out. Because for those of you that haven't realized it, I've seen the movie. It's good enough. I'm going to go watch it again. But I stayed away from all spoilers with Star Trek, and was so glad, because as they reveal things through the movie, it is awesome the way they did it. And that's exactly why I avoid spoilers. So that's the reason I avoid spoilers. It's not just to be a dick about it and get onto people for ruining things for me. It's because I really do enjoy the surprises. Not everything works out, because there is no surprise sometimes. But with Doctor Who and Star Trek, I think I'm going to be I think avoiding the spoilers like I've been doing is going to be worth it.
So again, we don't know Doctor Who spoilers,
Right.
So anything we say here is simply just a prediction. If we're right, it's luck of the draw.
Exactly. So this is all conjecture.
So do you have any predictions?
I mean, we flat out know. We do know because of spoilers that accidentally got into my brain. We know that Chris Eccleston will not be there.
Yeah.
So we won't see the Ninth Doctor, and we know that David Tennant and Billy Piper will both be appearing as their respective characters. So
yeah, and the only way you haven't heard those spoilers is if you're under a rock.
right.
That was rather hard to avoid.
Those are the only ones that we flat out know, and from here on out, we don't know anything. The number one question we have, that many fans have, is who is David playing? Is he playing the 10th Doctor?
Or the clone.
Or is he playing the clone that ran
both.
off with Roan? Or ran off with Rose? Or yes, is he playing both? I'm starting to think...
A lot of it depends on which Rose we're seeing. Is this Rose from the time period when she was traveling with the Doctor?
Right, where they are they being picked out of that time frame?
Right.
Or is this post?
Yeah, is this actually Rose being pulled back from...
the alternate universe.
Exactly.
I suspect we're going to see this as being... This is just me. I think this is going to be Rose and the 10th Doctor pulled out of their time stream. So we will see them before she went to the alternate universe. So it's going to be pre-Doomsday Rose.
Right.
And that's going to be tough on Matt as the 11th Doctor to not give anything away to them as to what's coming.
I'm curious, honestly, to see Matt's reaction as the Doctor, seeing Rose again at all.
Right, because Matt, the 11th Doctor, has not seen Rose. Well, sort of. He saw an image of her.
Yeah, but...
he has not had to interact with Rose.
He suffered that loss.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is the Doctor after that has suffered that loss.
I think that we're going to see a multi-doctor story, and obviously, but I think it's going to be more doctors than we're knowing. It would not surprise me at all if Paul McGann shows up.
That would be awesome.
Now that could just be the geek in me desperately wanting to see another Paul McGann story, but
even I want to see another Paul McGann story,
especially with his new outfit and new sonic screwdriver and all that. That they made, that BBC commissioned for him to do the Big Finish stuff. I think so he could have a nice cover art for the Big Finish stuff. I think that it's time to see Paul live action again, and this is the perfect opportunity. Whether he's been invited or not, I don't know.
Since David Tennant's doing it, his father-in-law might be there.
Right. We might see not Colin. Jesus.
Peter.
Thank you. We might see Peter Davison back, reprising his role as the Fifth Doctor. I don't expect to see Tom Baker, but we might hear his voice. It would not surprise me if they did some sort of voice work for Tom. He's gotten to the point where he's just physically too old to reliably play the Doctor.
Yeah.
But having him do a voiceover would be pretty cool. Like they call back in time. Hey, have you seen blah? And just having Tom respond would be pretty cool.
I will say,
I don't expect to see that though.
From the season finale, one of the coolest scenes I think I've ever seen in Doctor Who was Clara talking to the first Doctor.
Yes, telling him, no, don't take that one. It's broken. Take this one. It's got a wonky navigation system, but you'll be happier with it or whatever. I think that was very cool. Seeing her with all the different versions of the Doctor. Surprisingly absent, however, were shots of the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann, and the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. In the first little bit, you only see up to Sylvester.
Right.
But later in the episode, when they're showing that stuff again, you see the 9th Doctor. Or who's supposed to be the 9th Doctor. You see the jumper and the leather jacket and all that right across the street. So the only ones that were noticeably absent were the 8th Doctor and the 10th Doctor.
I did notice that as well, especially the 10th Doctor, but I noticed there wasn't any scenes from the movie.
Yeah, so that sort of suggests that we may be seeing Paul again. And that would be very cool.
That would be awesome.
But I think those are going to be the only... I really do think those are the only established Doctors we would see. We'll see 10 and 11 guaranteed. We may see 8. And whatever John Hurt is doing. Now
here's where we get into theories. What is your theory about John Hurt?
So there's 2 popular theories out there, and one of which I subscribe to and came up with on my own, and there are people that agree with me. There are 2 basic theories. The first one is that he is Christopher Eccleston did not play the 9th Doctor, is the theory. Christopher Eccleston is actually the 10th Doctor. John Hurt is the actual 9th Doctor. And what happened is Paul McGann's version dies, regenerates into John Hurt. John Hurt is the one that ends up fighting the Time War, or at least ending the Time War. And his actions that cause the Daleks and the Time Lords to be locked away forever and forces him to be the only Time Lord left, the feedback from that is what triggered the next regeneration. It's why he has just regenerated into the 9th, what we've called the 9th Doctor all along, Christopher Eccleston. Regenerates into that character, which we see in Rose. We see him, he's clearly brand new to that character because he's still looking at the ears and the nose, and he's not used to his face yet. So he's a brand new Doctor. So we know that whatever happened in the Time War, by the time we see Rose, the episode Rose, it has just happened. Or he has just regenerated into that character. So unless they determine that Paul is the one that fought the war and then regenerated, or he fought the war and survived, but something else triggered the regeneration later. But that doesn't really fit with the explanations of his character, because his character is the Christopher Eccleston character is a very dark character. He is still scarred from the war. So it suggests that he's directly born out of the flames of that war. In fact, they so much as say that during David's run. So I don't think that there was any delay from the end of the Time War till Rose, maybe a week. So it's. I rambled a bit there for a bit. So let me bring it back to the main concept. So the concept is that John Hurt's character is actually the Ninth Doctor, but because of his actions, the subsequent Doctors have not acknowledged that incarnation was one of them.
Therefore, the Matt Doctor really does think he is the 11th Doctor.
Right. In his brain, he is the 11th Doctor, but he is the 12th life. Which means that there's only one regeneration left. If that theory is correct. That's not the theory that I subscribe to. My theory, and these are both equally valid in my opinion, my theory is that he is the Valeyard. And for those of you that didn't watch the classic Who, they actually mentioned the Valeyard during the episode. But for those of you that didn't watch the classic Who, the Valeyard is essentially all the evil of the Doctor, all the darkness that's in him, distilled into one incarnation. It's a possible 13th incarnation, it's either he's the 13th incarnation or he's a derivative of the Doctor that came across or came out between the 11th and 12th incarnations or whatever. The point is that he's a possible future of the Doctor. And so that's why he technically could be called the Doctor. But he's a very dark version, and anything he does would not be in the name of the Doctor. It'd be in the name of the Valeyard. So either of those options is out there, or it could be something entirely different. We could be completely wrong. But neither of those would surprise me. What thoughts have you had?
Honestly, I don't know enough about Classic Who to, I feel, come up with a solid theory. My exposure to Doctor Who has been based purely on the new Doctor Who. 2005
forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're definitely pulling in some of the classic stuff with this anniversary special. So I think without having full knowledge of old school Doctor Who, I don't feel like I can come up with a proper theory.
Yeah, this is very much a fan service year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And while it's very fun for me to watch, I don't feel like I'm educated enough on Doctor Who as a whole to have any real predictions about it.
Right.
I just kind of get to sit back and see where it goes.
Yeah. And it may trigger, depending on how they go with it, it may trigger a desire in you to go back and see, okay, let's see where that comes from. So
you never know. Weirder things have happened.
That's right. And let's face it, I've got them. You can watch them anytime you want.
It'll definitely be fun anniversary special to watch.
Yes. I'm glad that it's going to air in November because of the anniversary, but I really wish it was airing this weekend. Oh, man, I'd love to go ahead and see it. I don't like... Doctor Who is frustrating enough with only having 13 episodes a year, minus the specials, so we'll say 14. 14 episodes a year sucks. When you cut that series in half and you only air 6 or 7, that sucked. And they did that. They ran the 6th series as, they split it, but they started in the spring. Excuse me. Took a couple months off, aired the rest in the fall. Aired the Christmas special, came back, aired, didn't come back until fall again. I mean, they were gone for 8-9 months. Aired 5 episodes to finish up Amy and Rory's story. Aired the Christmas episode, and then they aired 8 episodes in this current run, and now they're taking another break until November. So we'll get the November anniversary special. I assume we'll also get a Christmas special. In fact, the November anniversary special may actually be a 2-parter. That's another thing that I'm thinking is probably going to happen. We're going to see half of it at the November anniversary, and then the other half at the Christmas special. I'm really worried that they're going to do that. But then there's no telling how much longer they're going to take a break.
Right.
We know we're going to see Matt in 2014. They have guaranteed that there will be episodes of Doctor Who in 2014, and Matt Smith will be in at least one of them. That's all they're telling us. They may be gearing up for another regeneration already. Or
maybe Hurt really is the new Doctor.
Yeah, he very well could be the next Doctor. And how cool would that be to have a name like John Hurt be the Doctor? I would rather it be Benedict Cumberbatch, to be honest. Benedict Cumberbatch is the guy who's playing Sherlock on the BBC series of Sherlock. And he's a great actor. In fact, he's also playing the bad guy in the new Star Trek movie. So you'll get to see him this weekend. And I think he would be an amazing Doctor. Just amazeballs amazing. But I don't want him to be the last Doctor. I'm kind of partial on the last Doctor. I want the final Doctor to be a female. I want the 13th life to be a female Doctor. And I want it to be somebody big, like Judi Dench. Or who's that old British lady with the amazing tits? Crap, what is her name? She's in Red. Oh, it's going to bug me. To the Cloud. Quick, hum the Jeopardy theme song while I look this up. Helen Mirren.
Huh?
Who is Helen Mirren?
Okay.
She would be a good final Doctor. The concept of a female Doctor, it's always been kind of laughed at, but Joanna Lumley did it for the Children in Need special, Doctor Who: The Curse of the Fatal Death. Because not all death is fatal.
We've discussed that before.
But I watching that a couple of times, I'm like, they could do a 13th Doctor. I think it'd be cool. Oh, and that's a 5th person to be in Harry Potter and Doctor Who, although that didn't count. One of the versions of the Doctor is also Professor Slugworth in Harry Potter. So anyway, I would love to see a female 13th Doctor, even if it's a no name. It'd be kind of cool if Alex Kingston came back and did it. Shut up.
No.
What do you think about her appearance in this final episode? Or this?
The second I saw her, I was like, oh.
Okay, fine. You don't like River, and I get that. But what'd you think about it?
I thought it was unnecessary.
Did it not strike you as it being a goodbye? That's going to be the final appearance of River.
I hope so.
I honestly believe that they wanted to tie her up because it's not what I meant. She's been so intricately linked with Amy and them, but she's able to come and go, and we know that. But they just kind of her story's over. So I like the concept of letting her get her last goodbye, and it's not just any River. It's not like it's River from the time of the Angels Take Manhattan or anything. This is River after she died. It's her memory. It's the memory of River after she died, talking to Clara, and apparently the Doctor, and she just didn't realize it. And she gets the chance to say goodbye. Because she says, goodbye, sweetie, instead of hello, sweetie. So I think this is probably going to be River's final appearance.
One can only hope.
I don't know why I don't understand why you don't like her.
I've never liked her.
I know, but I don't get it. She's such a fascinating character.
I disagree. I think she's irritating as all get out. So, moving on. We covered Doctor Who. I would like to take a moment,
if I may, to take you on a strange journey. Oh, wait.
To talk to you about Bronies.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Bronies are weird to begin with.
I found the weirdest of the weird.
But they've gotten weirder recently.
They have gotten weirder recently. And this new My Little Pony movie that's going to come out theatrically is not helping.
Yeah, because, that's what we needed. We needed My Little Pony to be turned into adolescent teenage girls.
Right? That's just taking it to a whole nother level.
That's redundant. Adolescent teenager.
No, but they're taking the ponies, and actually, if you haven't seen the movie posters, you can see it in the posters. They actually are taking the ponies, and they're like...
This is the teenage girl version of Twilight Princess or whatever.
It's like...
It's not Twilight Princess. Whatever the fuck her name is.
Twilight Sparkle.
That's her fucking name.
It's like you take brat dolls.
Wait. Guess who's not a brony?
You take brat dolls, and you take My Little Pony, and you put them together, and you get ponies walking around on two legs. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. They are teenage girls that look like humanoid ponies.
I didn't think about that, about the fact that they are pretty much brats. They're BRATZ. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. But that's exactly what they are.
I mean, that's exactly what this is. It is humanoid ponies. Basically, brats.
Because the sexualization of My Little Pony...
wasn't bad enough.
Which has already happened. That wasn't enough. Now we have to have human versions of them to make the sexualization, number one, become pedophilia. And number two, be just a little more awkward. And let me tell you, parents, do not take your little girls to this movie. Because they're going to be competing for seats with people my age... men, grown-ass men, my age, drooling over the movie screen.
Some of them
Twilight Sparkle.
Some of them dressed as ponies.
Yes, some of them will be dressed in pony garb.
No,
don't take your kids to this movie.
And I am completely serious.
Is it going to theaters?
It is going to theaters. As much crap as I give Bronies and joke about it, as a teacher and general caregiver of children, I'm dead serious. Wait for the DVD. Do not take your little girl to see this movie. Just make her wait for the DVD.
Absolutely. And the thing is, and don't get me wrong, as much as we do give them grief and tease the general concept of being a brony and all that, they have a right to their own sexual proclivities.
Absolutely.
Whatever gets your rocks off, whatever floats your boat, that's fine. But there is an appropriate place and an appropriate time, and I think that in a movie theater with a bunch of kids is not going to be an appropriate place and time, but it's not going to stop them.
No,
I don't think it's... we're going to see a large group of them lined up for this particular movie, and I think that's...
I think it could be very confusing to little girls.
It really can. It's not... They're too young to understand what this means.
Why is that group of grown men going to see this movie, Mommy?
And why do they have tails?
Why are they dressed like ponies, Mommy?
Right.
It's
not a conversation that any parent needs to have with a child that young.
No.
They're too young for that. So, yes, parents...
it's unfortunate, but it's better not to take your kid to see this movie.
Absolutely. Now, unless you can somehow rent out the theater, like if a group of parents wants to get together and rent out the whole theater for all their kids... then that's probably okay, because they'll be the only ones in there.
And summertime is coming up. I think it actually does come out this summer. I know that there's...
daytime showings and things like that. There'll be less risk.
And stuff. That would be a little different.
Yeah. But for the general evening showings...
I would avoid evening showings and all weekend showings.
All weekend showings, absolutely. Just save yourself the grief. Trust us.
Now... knowing
someone who is a brony... do you think he's going to be at that movie? Or are you going to try and talk him out of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are
you going to explain to him why?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not because of what you like. It's because you might cause emotional issues and confusion to the young girls. And young boys. Let's face it. There are young boys that watch this show too.
And at the very least, I will say this: if you're a brony, and there This is a whole contradiction of terms. There are some more normal bronies than others. If you're a brony and you're going to go see...
That's a fair statement, I would say. There are some that can pass for normal in public.
If you're going to go see this movie and you have a little cousin or something,
take them.
Take a kid with you and be on your...
I don't know. Is it
parental behavior?
That might be a little more creepy. If you know someone's a brony and they're there for them, and they're there with a small child, you might think things, and it might be the wrong thing.
Not if the brony is on their best parental behavior. That means don't go to the theater dressed as a pony.
Please God, don't.
That means, be in normal clothes. Don't even wear a pony t-shirt. Just dress normally.
Yeah.
Go with the kid. Sit there like a normal human being and watch the movie without jacking off.
Even for the bronies that aren't there with their cousins and what have you, do not jack off in the theater. If you get sexual gratification from watching the ponies, My Little Pony and whatever this version of it's going to be, keep that shit in your pants until you get home.
If you're going to jack off to this movie, wait till it hits DVD,
exactly.
For the love of God.
Don't even do it in your car, in the parking lot, or on the way home. Wait till you are all the way home before you start gratifying yourself.
In the privacy of your own room, please.
Yeah, don't even do it in your living room. Even if you live alone, don't do it in your living room. That shit is shameful. You need to do it in the closet with the lights off. Now, let me be clear. It's not shameful because of the subject matter that's getting you off. Masturbation is shameful. Keep that shit in the closet in the dark. That's where that joke is coming from. It's not because of your particular sexual desires. I don't really believe that. I don't do it in the closet in the dark.
I seriously don't have
John's just happy he's never walked in on me.
I don't seriously have issues with all bronies, but there are more and more creepy ones coming to the surface. For example, there is a guy out there in the world that actually, legitimately, from the bottom of his heart, believes that he is engaged to Twilight Sparkle.
See, now that gets to a whole new level of, not denial. Denial is not the right word. It's not insanity either. It's
disillusionment.
Delusion. It's a whole
delusion.
new level of delusion.
Now,
to believe that what is first of all a cartoon character and not real, could be engaged to you. Regardless of what kind of character it is. It could be fucking Smurfette. It could be one of the Brats. It could be a cartoon version of Rose from Doctor Who. She ain't real. Let's clarify that. Let's understand. She ain't real. You ain't engaged to her.
So, I go and after seeing that such a man exists, I am compelled to Google this individual because...
Why not?
That kind of thing sparks interest.
Absolutely.
So, I stumbled upon a 2-part essay that he had written about his relationship with Twilight.
Oh, essay, not essay.
No, not essay.
I need a little bandana right here.
An essay.
It's kind of like Brett. It's kind of like Brett, but further down.
Anyway.
So, like, if you're looking like this, you can't see anything directly in front of you. You gotta kind of tilt your eyes up. Oh, there you are, essay. I see you now, though.
Anyway, so I read this 2-part essay because, as I've said many times before, and I truly do believe this, I won't condemn something that I haven't at least looked at if there's something to look at.
I will.
I know you will.
I'm a judgmental prick.
I try not to be. So I read these essays, and I won't go into the entire content of it, except to say, one, the way it was written.
No, uno. If it's essay, it's gotta be uno.
The way it was written was actually intelligent, the sentence structure-wise. I mean, it was grammatically correct. and put together in such a way that it was intelligently written. You know, it wasn't just some moron putting words together.
That just goes to show you that you can be delusional and smart too.
Yes. And it was well spoken. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this man's relationship with Twilight. So, he was in a very deep depression, couldn't pull out of it. During the course of this depression, started watching My Little Pony, which is the only time he wasn't depressed. Over the course of this, watching My Little Pony, he came to realize he was falling in love with Twilight Sparkle. And then he got depressed because she wasn't real. And then he realized that humans are basically odd ducks and love takes all kinds of forms, and that his love for Twilight Sparkle was no less real than any other love. The other thing that freaked him out about this isn't just the fact that she's fictional. It's the fact that he had previously to this been gay and Twilight's a girl.
Okay, true. She's a female pony, but she ain't a girl.
Yeah. So he decided that in order to have a physical manifestation to express his love, he was going to get a decent-sized plush pony of Twilight. He then proceeded, or has proceeded, to carry on an actual relationship with this pony. You know, he kisses her, he sleeps with her, he takes her to eat, he fucks her.
Get a fucking real doll.
I don't think they make ponies.
But they do make guys.
Yeah. He has slept with a guy since this started, and he felt guilty because he felt like he was cheating on Twilight and ended the relationship.
You know, okay.
I have no words.
All right, here's the thing. This is my opinion. First of all, he's delusional if he thinks that the relationship is real. A relationship requires two ways. There's no such thing as a one-way relationship. It doesn't work. It doesn't exist. You may that's just unreciprocated love. You may very well be in love with this inanimate object, and that's fine. If that's where your mind is taking you, that's fine. But don't call it a relationship, because that inanimate object does not love you back. Okay? You are having sexual relations with an inanimate object. Fine. That's on you. I do that.
And that's not making love, as he terms it. That's masturbation.
Right, exactly. You know, a lot of people have masturbation devices. There's dildos, there's pocket pussies, whatever.
Yeah, he says he makes love to Twilight.
Yeah, that's like me saying I make love to my right hand. That's not true. I fuck my right hand, but I don't make love to it. Oh, wow. You know, sometimes I say things that even I have to go, wow, Chuck, did you really just say that? The nice thing about this is we don't edit anything out. If you're wondering about the glasses, it's because my eyes are hurting and it's really bright in here. But it's the only way to make the cameras actually show up.
Look like Ray Charles.
I could do that. I can't do it. I can't do Ray Charles. Best version of Ray Charles I ever saw was other than Ray Charles, is John Belushi. John Belushi does a great Ray Charles imitation, but it's John Belushi as Beethoven imitating Ray Charles. You know, Beethoven's deaf.
Yeah.
Anyway, instead of blind. Anyway,
back to Pony Boy.
Forgot where I was going with it, but he's not in a relationship, and he needs to understand that he's not.
And the thing I find so interesting about it is he acknowledges that the character is fictional.
Okay. But can he also acknowledge that the character can't possibly love him back?
I don't think so.
No. Because then that would shatter his illusion. And that's not, whatever. So I don't think that this is real love. I think that eventually something's going to hit. The lightning's going to hit his brain, or the light bulb's going to turn on, and his
or
illusion.
Medication's going to kick in.
Yeah, his illusion is going to shatter eventually, and it's just going to worsen his emotional problems. This is a man who is either going to take his own life, or that of the lives of those around him, or both. Whether he really does it or not, I don't know, but these are warning signs. And the people who care about him, the people in his life, whether it's his family, his friends, whatever, need to step up and do something.
His friends that he speaks of in these essays seem to be enabling this.
I'm sure they are, because they don't know what else to do.
One of them even encouraged him to start taking Twilight out to restaurants with them,
because it'd be funny. It's funny. Let's laugh at the poor man's pain. The fact is that he's probably a fairly young individual. He's probably younger than either of us, if I had to guess.
I want to say 25-ish.
Yeah. His friends are all going to be around the same age. They're all a bunch of immature idiots. They don't understand how much damage this really could cause in the long run. This is someone who actually does need help.
And my fear is that there are more bronies out there like this than we realize.
Yeah, they're not stepping up and making themselves known. Their friends and families may not even be aware of the problem. And the thing is, and let me be clear, it's not because they're bronies. Being a brony is not automatically a bad thing.
No. We give shit about it, but I do think that if being a fan of the show, there's should be nothing sexual about a show aimed at little girls about characters that are not human.
Right. Sexualizing this show is when the problem starts.
Yes.
Being a brony does not necessarily mean that you're sexualizing the show. I don't know your friend as well as you do.
Oh, he and I are going to have a talk. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know how far his fans...
Do you honestly believe that he may be sexualizing the show and the characters?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. So if you think that it's even possible, then yes, you need to have a talk with him.
No, he and I are definitely going to have a talk. After reading the story, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're talking.
Right. But again, make sure you're going into it assuming nothing.
Right.
And tell him up front, I'm not saying this because I think you are. I want to know where this stands with you, or however you want to phrase that, because you don't want him to shut down on you.
No. But if you are sexualizing these ponies, that is a problem.
Yes.
If you just enjoy it because it's mindless television, well, you're a little silly, but hey, we all have our little guilty pleasures, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you shit about it, but I don't honestly think it's bad.
It's no different than a grown-ass man watching the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Or Ninja Turtles, or whatever.
Yeah, if you're watching it because it's a fun show and it's mindless entertainment, more power to you.
Right.
If you're watching it because it gets you horny, well, we may have a problem here.
That's right. That is completely different. Now, like I said, being a fan of the show, being a brony, does not necessarily mean that you're sexualizing it. But if you are, then yes, your friends and your family need to help you come to grips with there is a problem. And even the one, it's a fine line, because I'm okay with the concept of anthropomorphic sex. Okay, sexualizing anthro characters who are animals but with human characteristics.
Well, they're turning the ponies into that, though.
Right, and I'm okay with that to an extent, but I still expect for them to be adult characters. They need to be adult characters aimed at an adult audience. My Little Pony is not. My Little Pony are clearly children or childish characters aimed at children.
Yeah.
They are not adult characters. Even this new movie is going to put them as that preteen, teenage age group, and that should give you a clue that these characters are not aimed at adults. That's where the sexualization becomes an issue for me. I am all about whatever floats your boat. It doesn't get me off. Bestiality, anthrosex, none of that stuff gets me off. Furries don't get me off.
See, I think furries have a problem all into themselves, personally, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, and but again, as long as it's in an adult context, then that's their own thing.
Sure.
And they can and you know, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. It's the same thing as the whole, you know, cartoon porn thing goes. There are porn sites dedicated to cartoons that I grew up on that are now being sexualized.
Rule 34.
Exactly, Rule 34. Now, again, whatever floats your boat. And even I like going and seeing what they come up with, you know. I'll be
the first to admit, when I want to look at porn, I look for comic book porn.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing Superman banging Wonder Woman. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. They're adults. I do have a problem with things like Kim Possible, Dexter's Lab.
Where do you stand on Supergirl?
Supergirl is she skirts that line because she's like 17, you know, and so it's easy to say, okay, this is her in a couple of years. But with like with characters like Kim Possible or the characters from Dexter's Lab or Johnny Test, they're all like 10 years old, and they're not. And the people drawing these cartoons aren't making them any older. As long as you clearly make them older, then I guess it's okay. But if you're keeping them the age that their cartoon persona is, there's an issue there.
I found, and I will flat out say this was an accident.
Liar.
I did not go looking for this.
I don't believe you.
There's actually Damian Wayne porn out there. 10-year-old Damian Wayne.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He's too young for that.
I obviously stumbled upon it when I was looking at other Batman stuff.
Sexualizing a child.
And even worse, scenes of Damian with Bruce or Damian with Dick, him with his father figure. Mm-hmm. That's even worse.
Yeah, sexualizing a child, I think, is, whether even in a cartoon setting, I think is a bad thing. That doesn't need to happen. When you start getting into the teenagers, some of that concept is, you know, we have this ingrained moral thing where, you know, 100 years ago, a 13-year-old bride was nothing nobody looked twice at. But today, it's, you know, even a 16-year-old having sex, it's like, oh my God, the world's going to end. So teenagers having sex, I think, is a little different than the pre-adolescents.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and so
because honestly,
there is a gray area for teenage looking.
Well, the
porn.
age of consent in most places is 16.
Right.
So once you hit 16, you're kind of starting from 16 to 18. You're kind of in a gray area.
Right. I can accept that. I can accept that gray area. Now, to be fair, there are still laws.
Yes. And
the law says that you cannot have anyone that's under the age of 18 in a pornographic setting.
Right.
So I'm not saying that it's okay to do that from a legal standpoint. I'm saying that my moral code doesn't necessarily make me want to get up and slap you across the face for doing it. But pre-adolescence, that's a whole nother ballgame. I should not see any kind of pornography that's dealing with a character that's clearly pre-adolescent, undeveloped child, whether it's male or female.
Or pony.
So that's my problem with the Bronies. It's the ones that are sexualizing these creatures, these characters. To me, it's wrong. And sexualizing a children's show to begin with. I mean, a children's show. Some of the stuff that we watch is aimed at an older audience. Some of the stuff we read, like the comic books we read, that stuff's aimed at an older audience.
Yeah.
So watching Bruce and Diana get it on is one thing. Watching the ponies get it on, that's a whole nother matter. So that's my thing. It's not about the Bronies. It's about the sexualization of the characters.
Agreed. Unfortunately,
most of that's coming from Bronies.
Yeah, not all, but a few bad apples.
Yeah. And that's the way it happens. One bad apple will spoil the bunch. That I realize that's an old corny saying, but it's very true.
Absolutely.
It happens at work. It happens at school. It happens in the Brony
life.
community. So again, parents, be warned. If you've got young kids and you're planning on taking them to this, be smart about the showing that you go to, or just wait until it comes out on video.
So, moving on to something a little less hardcore.
You said hard.
It is that time.
No. Have we talked about everything today?
No.
Oh.
We are going to week 2.
Oh, I thought we were doing the...
No, not segments yet.
We're not there yet. Okay.
We're not anywhere near segments yet.
I didn't think so.
Week 2, and I'm going to try to get through this quickly because we do have other topics.
Yeah, we've got other stuff to talk about.
Week 2 of our fall TV lineup.
Oh, yes. Who are we doing this week?
ABC.
Ooh, ABC. Abaca.
So I'm going to go ahead and start with Sunday night. We have Once Upon a Time, Revenge, and Betrayal.
So no changes.
Betrayal is a new series, isn't it?
I think it's already airing.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think it was a mid-season replacement.
Ah, gotcha. Then we have Monday nights, Dancing with the Stars, and Castle.
Woohoo! Castle's back for its 6th season. It is going to be an interesting season after the season finale this year.
Now
did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Him popping the question. That's
yeah. Now we get to the new stuff on Tuesdays.
I'm curious what they're going to do with Molly's character. Molly Quinn, who, by the way, Molly, if you're watching this, I love you. One of the best
voice ever.
Yeah, one of the best young actresses out there, and I realize she's not a child anymore. She's like 19, 20 or whatever. She has really grown up well in this industry. Did a great job as the voice of Supergirl. I know she's voicing something else on a regular basis, like Winks or something like that. I forget what it is.
That's what it
she's
is.
Doing some series, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, she's Alexis Castle on the show Castle. She's got several movies that are out already. Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, which I can't wait to watch. I've got it queued up. I'm going to be watching that soon. She's in a new one with Jennifer Aniston, We're the Millers, which is going to be coming out in August. So I'm curious. I realize I rambled for a bit there. I'm curious where they're going with her character. She's off to college, or she's already in school. But are they going to be continuing doing just she shows up every now and then, or what? I'm sort of curious where they're going to go with her. That's all I had to say about that.
Moving on to Tuesday, I find this specific programming choice interesting. They're putting Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. up first on Tuesday, which puts it right up against NCIS on CBS, as we discussed last week.
And let's face it, if anything can make a dent in NCIS's numbers, it's going to be this show, because it is directly tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's going to be an interesting
head-to-head. A little interesting ratings battle going to be happening on Tuesday nights.
Following Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we have Goldbergs, Trophy Wife, and Lucky 7. All new shows.
I haven't heard anything about Trophy Wife. The Goldbergs is it's kind of the Wonder Years for the 80s, is basically what that's going to be. Lucky 7 is about a bunch of lottery winners. A bunch of people came together buying lottery tickets and won. but I haven't heard anything about Trophy Wife, so I'm not sure. The Goldbergs looks funny. It's got a decent cast, and again, it's the Wonder Years for the '80s, being narrated by Patton Oswalt. So I think that's going to be interesting.
Wednesday we have The Middle, Back in the Game, Modern Family, Super Fun Night, and Nashville.
All right, so Nashville's coming back. Everything else, The Middle and Modern Family are already there.
So we have Back in the Game and Super Fun Night that are new.
Back in the Game is the one with Maggie Lawson from Psych. She's going to be taking over as a Little League baseball coach. And that looks interesting. It's also going to have James Caan as like her father or something like that. So not sure how well it'll do. And I'm kind of depressed a little bit because with Maggie going over there, it sort of cements that Psych is done. This is going to be Psych's final season. And that sucks because I like Psych. Anyway.
Well,
So,
I don't know. It's a USA show. Their shooting schedule may be different.
Well, no, but they really are. They're ending Psych. Mm-hmm. It's either this is its final season or they've got the final season in the can, the final like 6 episodes in the can, and they're going to air them in the fall or something like that. Mm. But they are done.
Then on Thursday we have Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Just a spinoff of Once Upon a Time.
Right.
Then we have Grey's Anatomy and Scandal.
No ideas there. I don't watch Grey's. Once Upon a Time is actually a good series, so I'm expecting Once Upon a Time in Neverland to be just as good. It's just going to be Once Upon a Time with the Peter Pan mythos.
No, in Wonderland.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, it's Wonderland. Then it's Alice.
Yes.
So I'm more inclined to watch that. I haven't been keeping up with Once Upon a Time. I watched the first couple episodes and then got out of it because it was a bad schedule. But I'm more inclined to watch that because I've got a little bit of an Alice fetish, just a little one.
Be like if it was Sleeping Beauty, I'd probably watch that, even though I don't watch Once Upon a Time.
Right.
And that's all the new shows ABC's got. Friday they have Last Man Standing, Neighbors, Shark Tank 2020.
I find it interesting that they moved Neighbors to Friday nights with Last Man Standing. They dropped Reba's show, Malibu Country, and moved Neighbors to Friday night.
Mm-hmm. And then Saturday is Saturday Night College Football.
Right. Which means it's all they're going to do for the fall. There's no telling what they'll do in the spring.
And that is your ABC fall lineup.
Overall, a bit lackluster.
Very much so.
Yep.
Nothing too impressive.
ABC has not had a great run the last couple of years, with the exception of Castle. Dancing with the Stars is as popular as it's ever going to be. It has a certain audience. It'll always have that audience. We'll see how Marvel Shield does. Agents of Shield, whatever the hell it's called. We'll see how that does.
Yeah.
And like I said, if anything can sort of put a dent in NCIS's numbers, that's going to be it. Especially on the ABC side of things. Castle's about the only other thing I could see that could make a dent in those numbers.
Yeah.
And it's too popular to move off of Monday nights.
So, next week we'll hit up another network. Now, I want to get into just a little discussion. I haven't done one of these in a while where we just discuss something for the sake of discussion.
Just the part where I can take a nap?
No, because discussion requires two. You and me.
You can't just talk to yourself?
No.
Yeah.
In the comic book universe, is often brought up who would win, Batman or Superman. I think we all know Batman would win. So we're not going to have that discussion again. So instead, I'm going to go to the next...
Wait a minute.
I was waiting to see how long it would take you.
Back that train up. You honestly think that in a fight between Batman and Superman, Batman would win?
Yes, because Clark doesn't have what it takes to take Batman down, and Batman has the K-ring.
which he doesn't always keep on his person, first of all. It sort of depends on if he's surprised by the confrontation. But assuming that it's a... I hate to call it a fair fight because it's really not either way. Assuming that he doesn't have the K-ring with him, Clark could simply just walk up to him, thump him in the head, and he's out like a light.
It
Clark
really all
wins.
does depend on if he's got the K-ring on.
That's right. It all comes down to that K-ring, because if Batman is determined enough to take Superman down, eventually Clark's going to go, all right, I've had enough of this shit. Dunk. You know?
But since that debate's been had over and over again, I want to kind of do something a little different. I want to talk about the next generation. In this case, Batman's successor was logically Dick Grayson, Nightwing. And we're going to use Kara, Supergirl, as Superman's successor.
I find it interesting that when you start talking about successors, that you would say that Kara is a more logical successor than Superboy. Now, if we were talking pre-Crisis, that would be obvious, because Superboy is simply Clark at a young age. So Kara would be the only possible successor. But we're talking post-Crisis here. We're talking Connor as Superboy, not a young Clark.
Right.
And Kara, I honestly,
I've always, when I've matched it up, I've always matched Kara and Dick and Connor and Tim. I consider Connor as more of a second in command to Kara, the same way Dick is a second in command to Dick.
You know, I in my opinion, in my humble opinion,
I think if it came down to it and Superman was gone, someone needed to take over the Super family, Kara would be the one to step up.
I think that the pre-New 52, obviously, because we don't count that anyway, but I think pre-New 52, Connor would have been the one to take over the reins as Superman.
Maybe
and
a Superman, but
Kara
I mean,
would have continued to be Supergirl.
Yes, but I mean in general head of the family aspects.
Superman's the head of the family. Connor would become the head of the family. And this is not just because it's male versus female. I honestly feel that Connor was being groomed to be Clark's replacement, should it ever come to that.
I always felt Kara was the stronger character of the two.
Stronger-headed. Not necessarily stronger. But let's go ahead and accept your premise that Kara is the successor to Superman. So you're saying who'd win in a fight between Kara and Dick?
Yes. Nightwing and Supergirl,
Dick.
head to head.
Nightwing would win.
Why?
Because, well, actually, that it sort of depends on the character, on which way they go. It wouldn't actually come down to fighting. It would come down to which one got naked faster. Because, let's face it, if Kara flashed her tits at Dick, Dick's done. He's like, bleh. But I've always kind of assumed that Dick grew into a well-endowed young man. So if he drops trowel fast enough, she might get distracted. You know, it's hard to beat up your opponent when you're sucking on his Johnson. Not that I know this from experience. I'm just assuming it would be hard to...
I was trying to avoid the sexual aspect of this battle.
Oh, you should have warned me about that. I you know, the thing is, it's a stupid question. No offense, it is. The only logical questions you can ask are, let's say Kara and Wonder Woman, or Clark and Wonder Woman, or Kara and Donna, or not even Donna, but Cassie. Since, you know, Cassie is probably more on a strength level with Kara than Donna is. Because that's a real fight. You can't compare a superhuman to Batman or Dick. They don't have it. They don't have. So
you don't think the Superman versus Batman question is a fair question in the first place?
No, it never was. It never has been. The only way that Bruce could ever win that fight is if he keeps that K-ring on him at all times and whips it out and kills Superman.
See, I think...
Or weakens him enough, but still.
Which is how Bruce would ultimately win that fight, and I don't think Dick has it in him to do that.
Right, Dick's not as
if it came down
ruthless.
to it, I don't think that Bruce could kill Clark if he had to. I don't think Dick could kill Kara if he had
Yeah,
to.
Dick's not as ruthless as Bruce is. Never has been, never will be. But again, that's why that makes it a null argument. There is no question as to who would win a battle.
So in
the
other words, Kara
superpowers
would win.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. So let's go ahead. You mentioned another one I found interesting: Batman versus Green Arrow.
See, in Batman versus Green Arrow, you have a real fight there because it's normal human versus normal human, gadget versus gadget, cave versus cave. Okay, so that's a real battle that you can sink your teeth into.
But the difference, the thing that makes it hard here is, yes, he has batarangs, but generally Bruce is a hand-to-hand fighter. Ollie he shoots arrows. He needs distance.
Exactly. So if Ollie can get his shots off before Bruce can get close, then he has an advantage. Whereas if Bruce can get in close, then he has an advantage. So they balance each other out. Does Bruce's ninja skills outweigh Ollie's fast reflexes and his ability to get out and get ranged on his targets? Ollie is the best comic book interpretation of a World of Warcraft hunter back old school World of Warcraft, because you had to jump out of the situations, you had to get way back and then start shooting.
Yeah,
you
Ollie
had to have
has
range.
hand-to-hand training, but not nearly to the level Bruce has.
Right. Now, you want to talk about hand-to-hand versus hand-to-hand? Put Black Canary in the ring with Bruce, and let's see who wins. Because
she has Canary Cry. That's not fair.
Even without Canary Cry, her hand-to-hand combat skills were phenomenal.
Yes.
Pre-New 52. The Black Canary was a phenomenal fighter. Ted Grant, too. Black Cat. Not Black Cat.
Focusing on Bruce.
Whatever the hell his name is.
Wildcat.
Thank you.
Focusing on Bruce and Ollie, though, here, who do you think would ultimately win if they were truly battling?
I think Bruce. Ollie's good, don't get me wrong, but again, he needs the range, and Bruce's ninja skills will get him in close fast.
And I think Bruce has the reflexes. He could probably avoid most of Ollie's shots.
Yeah.
Bruce has good reflexes.
Because he can anticipate. Arrows fly fast enough. You're not going to get out of the way of an arrow unless you know where he's going to shoot before he lets loose. Because Bruce has his ninja training, he has the ability to anticipate Ollie's moves and get out of the way before he ever fires the arrow. So, again, for that reason, I think Bruce would win. Ollie would be able to stand his ground for a little while, but ultimately, it's Bruce's battle.
I'd agree with that. And one batarang aimed just right, knocked the bow out of his hand, and he's dead.
Or just clip the line.
Yeah.
All you really have to do is clip the bowstring.
That's true too.
So.
No, Bruce definitely has the advantage there. He has better gadgets.
And it's not even about. I would say it's not even about gadgets. It's about skill.
Yeah. Bruce
has, because of his unique way of handling justice, doling out justice, as it were, Bruce has more skill in that scenario.
I don't think, honestly, aside from the superpowered heroes, as far as human vigilantes go, I don't think there's anyone in the DCU that really could take Bruce out.
No, with the exception of the superpowers, nobody can stand toe-to-toe with Bruce. Even the Flash would have issues.
You think so?
Yep. Because while he's got the speed, it's all he's got. And if Bruce could slow him down, even for a moment, Bruce has got him.
Yeah.
Hal Jordan, even with his ring, I think he would have trouble containing Bruce.
Even with constructs?
Yep. Even with his light constructs, I think he'd have trouble containing Bruce.
I think of all the Lanterns, honestly, I think Kyle would have the best shot against him, because Kyle's strength with his constructs has always been the fact he's an artist and he's more creative.
The problem
I think
is
that creativity would help him.
The problem is that they rely on those constructs. They rely on their constructs too much, and they can't really get into hand-to-hand. If Bruce can get inside their constructs or bypass them in some way, then he still has an advantage.
Construct. How do you bypass a construct?
Anticipation and speed. Ninja skill. Bruce is a ninja. Ninjas always win. Ninja, please. It's just the way it is. You'd be hard-pressed to find a normal human that could beat Bruce, even with abilities that are granted from items. Jaime, as Blue Beetle, wouldn't be able to do it. He wouldn't be able to beat Bruce.
No. But Jaime is not that skilled.
Booster Gold.
With the Scarab.
Booster Gold's got technology, but he wouldn't be able to beat Bruce.
He's an idiot. He doesn't know how to use what he's got.
If you really want to beat Bruce, you'd have to have somebody that's got... I think the only person who has even a remote chance of actually bringing the bat down is Deathstroke.
You think so, Slade?
Yeah, people that are... And we're talking about non-superhumans. And yes, Slade's got some enhancement, but he's nothing to the effect of Superman.
But you think Slade has the skill?
He's got the ability, because he's got similar training to Bruce. And he's been doing it all his life. He's the closest thing to a ninja besides Bruce in the DCU. And the hand-to-hand combat, they'd be about even. I think that would come to who gets a lucky punch first.
But the problem with that is that Dick's taken on Slade several times and won. So if Slade can't even beat Dick...
I don't think they're writing him properly. I honestly feel that they don't give Slade enough credit. Dick wins a little too easy sometimes. Slade's the only one ruthless enough to really go toe-to-toe with Batman. Yeah. Batman is...
Raish has come close. Raish has come close.
Yeah. Batman is a ruthless individual. He has a moral line that he won't cross, but
it's a far line.
That moral line is way out there. You know, he'll shoot you. He just won't kill you. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's way out there. And if you happen to die from blood loss because you didn't get to the hospital fast enough, that's your problem. He didn't shoot you to kill you. He shot you to slow you down.
Bruce doesn't shoot anything.
I know, and that's because of the gun thing. But those batarangs, they're not safe.
No.
Those things are razor edged.
No, that would hurt like hell.
It really would. Even without the razor edge. Imagine getting hit with one of those things.
So do you think you don't think Bruce could be beat by his own children?
No.
He's trained them.
Not in his current incarnation. He's too young. Bruce at 70, they might have a chance.
So Terry might have a chance.
Slight chance. No, he's too much of a badass.
Okay, let me give you this one then.
Okay.
Tony Stark versus Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. Tony's too much of a spoiled little so-and-so. He hasn't lost enough in his life. It doesn't make him ruthless enough. Tony still likes being Tony. Batman is all Bruce has.
Yeah.
Tony doesn't define himself by the suit. Batman does.
You think he really defines himself by the suit?
Yes, Batman. You know, I've had this conversation with people before, and we're actually we'll use Superman and Batman. There are 3 versions of Batman.
Yes.
There are 3 personalities. There is Bruce, the playboy. There is Batman, and then there's Bruce in the bat costume in the cave with his cowl down.
Which
That's
I think
the
is
real
the real
Bruce.
Yes.
But he's in the cave and he's in costume. He's defined by his job. What the villains see, what the thugs see, is not the real Batman. It's the Batman that sits in the cave. It's the detective.
Yeah.
That's the real Bruce, and that defines his life, his personality. With Kal-El, you've got 3 distinct versions of the character. You've got Superman, the red and blue tights and all that stuff. That's Kal-El. You've got and that's the public image. You've got the mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent, who is the public image of Clark. And then you've got Clark on the farm. The laid-back son of Ma and Pa Kent just being Clark.
Clark when he's alone with Lois or Kara or his parents.
Exactly. Able to be just him. Just let his hair down, as it were. And be Clark. Yes, he is a strange visitor from another planet, but you don't see that with him. You see a Kansas farm boy who grew up right.
No, in terms of personality, Clark, I feel, is much more human than Bruce.
Much more.
Maybe not physical.
Bruce closes himself off, and Clark opens himself up.
I mean, in physiological terms.
Physiological.
Thank you. I know Clark's an alien, but mindset and emotionally, he's as human as any Kansas farm boy.
Right.
And Bruce isn't.
He's not. Now, with Tony, with Iron Man is a hobby. He does it for fun. Whereas Tony Stark is who he is. He is Tony Stark. He is the billionaire playboy.
So he really is that shallow.
Yeah, he really is. And even when he decides to take a nobler path, he's still Tony. Yeah, he's doing some good with his brain and his money, but he's still Tony. He's still that much of a dick. He's in the public eye as Iron Man. People know he's Iron Man. And he's still, in public, such a douchebag. And it makes him a very fun character, but he's not hiding anything. And I think he plays around too much, and I think Batman has enough ruthlessness in him to take him down. Even though Tony's toys are pretty damn cool, Batman is still the better fighter.
Interesting.
I know, right? It's not like I have to sit long hours thinking about this stuff. It's all I do at home. When I'm by myself, all I think about is comic book characters and how they could beat each other.
You'd be surprised how often I do.
Yeah. You have to. You're in an RP. It comes up.
Yeah.
Well, even boyfriends and girlfriends fighting, they're superpowered boyfriends and girlfriends. You got to determine which of them is going to win the fight.
Which is probably, honestly, where the Nightwing and Supergirl thing started.
Oh, I know.
In the RP, they were married.
Right.
And even though he's Dick Grayson, when you're married to a Supergirl, you really don't want to piss her off too bad.
Not even a little bit. Because she can break your dick.
And then you run into the fact that they have 2 daughters and they're half Kryptonian. And so him as a human, is a father to 2 half Kryptonian little girls. And you run into a whole new set of problems.
Never mind that physiologically that's not possible, but okay. The only reason that Connor was able to do it is because it's a clone. They had to genetically engineer him. That's bad writing. Bad.
Which I explained in game. There is backstory there.
Yeah, whatever.
Be that as it may. Imagine being a human male raising 2 half Kryptonian daughters.
Who are temperamental to begin with, but now they're also strong.
Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that. Oh, really? Flies away.
Yeah.
How are you going to catch her?
At that point, you put her on a lead leash.
No, what we actually did end up doing was going with the whole Blue K thing that Smallville did, where Blue K depowers them. The girls have Blue K bracelets they can't get off.
Gotcha.
So they're depowered at home. Still makes for some funny stuff.
I tell you. So anyway.
Smallville gave me a great out. So anyway, we do have segments.
Segments? Oh, we have segments. And it's not quite the same as the David Letterman thing.
Honestly, I almost think that we need a segment just for DC's weekly fuck-ups. Because...
Is it that time of the year, time of the week again? What did DC do this week?
God, what... They did a couple of things this week. The counter on the...
It reset twice this week.
Yeah. I know they forgot to put an author's name on a book
Author and artist.
Yeah, author and artist. Which
They
is
attributed the book to the normal author and artist, never mind. And granted, the normal artist did do the cover art, but Jeff Johns didn't write the issue at all, and they credited him as the writer instead of the guy who did write it. They had a guest writer and artist.
That's kind of an amateur fuck-up.
That really is.
Really unprofessional. And
kind of a slap in the face to your guest artist and writer.
Yeah. Gonna be hard to get guests if you don't give them credit.
That's right. Now, they did get credited in the book. They just didn't get it on the cover
Never
of the
mind,
book.
the cover art is what people look at most.
Right. But again, the normal artist drew the cover.
Okay.
So his is not as big of a fuck up. But giving Jeff Johns credit at all, since he didn't write the story, it doesn't tie into anything he's doing. Yeah, it was kind of a fuck up there.
And the other one, God, I don't even remember what they did.
It is not important.
Yeah. Let's see.
No, it's really not important. The fact is, DC keeps fucking up, and
They're on 3 days right now.
yeah,
It's been 3 days since DC has done something stupid. Let's see. I actually am curious now. Give me a second. Oh, it was on the Aquaman cover specifically, if you're curious.
I wasn't.
Not you, our viewers.
Oh. Them.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't find it, but I think it probably... I know it had something to do with them pissing somebody off they shouldn't have pissed off.
So anyway.
I almost feel like we need a segment for it, though. Like a specific... Like with the sound effect and everything. The sound effects is just like...
Like a wah, wah, wah.
Damn it, Didio.
That's what we need. We need like a trombone wah, wah.
So we may need to add a segment to this. But anyway, moving on to our regular segments. Let's go ahead and start with Chuck's Choice, since you're the birthday boy.
Oh, I get to be the Chuck's Choice. We get to do Chuck's Choice first.
Yes. Happy birthday to you.
You know, I wish I had a clip of the Beatles' birthday song.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, they say it's your birthday. It's my birthday too. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I like my sound effect.
It is good.
It is kind of fun. Anyway, Chuck's Choice this week is don't go to IHOP. No, I'm kidding. I had something different, but I've because of my awesome birthday present, Chuck's Choice this week is the Wesley Crushers bowling shirts.
Aww.
They were cool on the show to begin with, and now that I've seen one in person, even though it doesn't fit me, I can't wait to get one that does fit me, which we've already put in to have this one swapped out. This is a very cool shirt. I'm not sure that I'll ever actually wear it. I might just see if I can get Will to sign it and frame it. How cool would that be? If I could get Will or even the rest, or somebody else from the cast to sign this shirt and then frame it up on my wall.
And for those that don't watch Big Bang Theory, I've seen the episode against my will. But explain a little bit of the background behind the Wesley Crushers.
So basically, like I said, it is a bowling shirt, and it was designed by Sheldon, who is the OCD of the group. Basically, he has an ongoing, or had an ongoing hatred of Will Wheaton because Will Wheaton ruined his childhood. He didn't show up at a signing at a Star Trek convention in Mississippi, and they met each other again all these years later at a card game, and Will used a dirty trick to win the card game, and then they met again when Sheldon put together a bowling team to go up against Stewart. Stewart brought Will Wheaton in as part of his bowling team, and so they met, and because of tension between Penny and Leonard, they had to call it. They forfeited, basically. Sheldon and his team forfeited, and so Sheldon arranged for a rematch, and to kind of throw Will Wheaton off his game. That was the intention anyway. They came up with bowling shirts. Sheldon did that. It's just a picture of some bowling pins on the back, and it says the Wesley Crushers. Now, if you think about it, the idea is they are the Crushers of Wesley. That's the concept. And the reason for the name is, if you don't know, Will Wheaton played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation. So if you're reading it quickly, what it really looks like is, hey, we're the Wesley Crushers. We like Wesley Crushers so much, we named our bowling team after him. So it's not, where Sheldon intended it to be one way, it was taken a completely other way. And so it kind of backfired on Sheldon. But it's still a pretty cool shirt. I mean, it's mustard yellow, which a nice bowling shirt should be mustard yellow, with black piping on the collars and the cuffs and all that. And, of course, it says the Wesley Crushers across the back. And I think it's very cool. And I don't know how much it was, but you can get it from Amazon.com, and because that's where my dear sister got it from. And I think it's the coolest gift I've gotten in a long time, you know.
'Cause I rock. And
since you couldn't very well get me what I really wanted for my birthday, because it's really expensive. Whores aren't cheap. I'm kidding. No, there's a gun I want. You and I, last time we went to the gun shop, we saw, it's the Springfield XDS. I really want that weapon, and but it's $550. I don't have that, neither do you. So I'm going to start saving my pennies. But yeah, that's all I had.
Okay.
So it's your turn. You want to get up on your soapbox?
I would love to get up on my soapbox. And oh, what a soapbox it is. So, we've spoken before.
Once or twice.
On the topic of Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, not this again. Are they at it again?
And while it is one specific thing that brought this up, it's going to... I have a general complaint, but we'll start with the specifics.
Okay.
The thing that started this was, okay, during nap time at work, I don't mean my nap time. For those of you that have forgotten, I work at a daycare. So, my kids take naps.
It's important to make sure people understand that part.
I sit there and supervise. We don't actually have a nap time for the employees at work, although that would be very nice. And we've often said that there should be a teacher nap time.
Right, there needs to be an enforced siesta time.
Anyway, so during nap time, I'm sitting there watching the kids sleep. There's only so much you can do in the room. I clean up lunch and stuff, but you really don't want to make too much noise, hence you wake the children, and that is not good, because children with short naps are no fun. So I'm sitting there thinking about stuff, I'm thinking about podcast topics, I'm thinking about recent events, I'm thinking about the tornado. That was a natural disaster. I bet Westboro had something to say about that.
Yeah, they don't even have... It doesn't even have to be natural disasters for them to step up.
So, I go to Google and type in Westboro Baptist Church and hit the news button. And wouldn't you know, they spoke out about it already. It turns out that the tornado in Moore, Oklahoma, was God's wrath on Oklahoma because a local sports team was supportive of that NBA player that just came out as gay. So God released his wrath.
That's their... Never mind that Tulsa is the #1 per capita location for homosexual communities in the country. It has the biggest per capita homosexual community in the country.
Did not know that, but no, that is not what they said.
Wow.
Because of their support of the NBA.
I honestly thought it would be the other way.
So, once again, a disaster has occurred, and according to Westboro, it's all the gays' fault. And God is releasing his wrath in the form of a tornado.
Wow.
Now, that is not actually what I'm soapboxing about today. Because if you have any common sense, you realize how stupid that is. Actually, if you have any common sense, you realize how stupid Westboro Baptist Church is. My biggest complaint about Westboro, other than the fact they're allowed to continue to exist as a church organization and get tax breaks when they're clearly not a religious organization, they are a hate organization.
They got church in the name.
Bullshit. Is that every time there's a disaster, you can count on them coming out and saying it's because God hates you and here's why. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact that I was sitting there going, I wonder what Westboro said about the tornado, and they sure enough had said something about it, kind of indicates just how predictable they are. Every time there is a disaster of any kind, they speak out, and I don't know if they're doing it for press or if they really do genuinely believe this, or if even they realize how stupid they sound and they just don't care because it's free press. But either way, somebody needs to put a stop to it, and I really do think, I'm all for churches, places of worship existing for people to congregate and share their beliefs. It's not my personal choice to share my faith with anybody, really. But if that's how you choose to worship, that's all well and good. But when your organization turns into something as hateful as Westboro is, it's time to yank your church status as far as the government's concerned, in my opinion.
Unfortunately, as long as we live up to the concept of freedom of speech and freedom of religion, that's never going to change. There will always be hate groups hiding behind their particular religion, whether it be the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, whatever. There will always be hate groups out there hiding behind their religion.
But if I recall correctly, even the Church of Scientology doesn't fall under a religious organization as far as the government's concerned.
I'd have to double check that.
I think there need to be guidelines for a religious organization. And when you're causing this many disturbances of the peace, I think it's time to reevaluate what we consider a religious organization. I'm not Christian, and I've said many times I'm not. As I've become an adult and more mature, I've come to accept that not all Christians are like the Westboro hate mongers. And I've come to accept Christians that accept me. But
I'm sorry, just as an aside, the Church of Scientology has been recognized as a religious denomination in the United States, and has received full recognition in various other countries such as Italy, South Africa, Australia, Sweden, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. That's not comprehensive, but that is some examples. Okay. It thus enjoys and regularly cites the constitutional protection afforded to these nations to religious practice. So Scientology in the United States is an official or religious organization.
Okay, I was mistaken on that.
It's happened. I forgive you.
Scientology is another one that needs to have its religious standing yanked. There's a very fine line between freedom of religion and cult-like behavior, which I feel both Scientology and Westboro fall under. Until
there is evidence that they are hurting someone, it's difficult to say they should not be allowed to be a religious organization. Scientology doesn't hurt anyone. Not really. They really don't. The
Never mind
members.
all of the people that have disappeared within the church.
That's all urban legend. There is no hard evidence of any actual harm coming to anyone as a result of their practicing Scientology or the members of the Westboro Baptist Church.
Could become a religious organization.
Any old religious organization is a cult. By definition, they're all cults. So yeah, they're not hurting anyone, then that's fine. It's when they start hurting people and animals. The sacrificing should probably be curbed. But until they start, there's a difference in hurting people and making a nuisance of yourself. As it stands right now, I don't agree with Westboro at all, and I will never defend them. But I will defend their right to be who they are and say what they want to say. They're a nuisance. They're a nuisance. Now, I also support the right of the people who were at those funerals or supporters of the people who are at those funerals to block Westboro's advances. Like I forget which town it is, but this small town in, I think it was Hattiesburg in Mississippi, that ran Westboro Baptist Church out of their fucking town.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They were accosted at gas stations, the local Walmart, whatever. Anybody that was obviously a member of Westboro Baptist Church and was there to picket a funeral that was going to be happening that weekend was ran out of town before the funeral could happen. Yep. So while as a believer in the Constitution, and I have to be because of the Second Amendment, and because of what we do, we enjoy freedom of speech. So do they. I support their right to say what they want to say and congregate and things like that. But I also support the right of people to limit their access to inappropriate places.
And I do think there should be some sort of law making it illegal to picket certain places, funerals being one of them.
Right. The thing is that the right to assembly does not give you a right to assemble anywhere.
Right.
It's
just like freedom of speech doesn't mean you can go to a crowded movie theater and yell fire.
Exactly. You typically have to get permission from the local government to do things like that. And in a lot of cases they're not, so they are being thwarted where they can be. But yes, I agree that there needs to be a law to say, okay, yes, you have the right to speak, freedom of speech. You don't necessarily have the right to say what you want where you want. There are places and that already exists, but I think it does need to be limited a little more. Picketing someone's funeral,
any funeral, and
it doesn't matter whose funeral it is.
No, and I know I might get blasted by some people for this, but even the funeral, and I don't know how they finally decided to bury him, but the funeral of the Boston bomber. He wasn't.
There was no place in Massachusetts, no cemetery in Massachusetts would allow him to be buried.
Right, because they had to.
About, they took him. They took him to a neighboring state, Virginia or something like that. He is buried.
And had they had a proper funeral for him, even him, I don't think should have had any sort of ruckus, as it were, at his funeral. Once you're dead, regardless of what you've done, you deserve the right to have your body rest in peace.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's fine.
What you've done in life is over and done with, and you can no longer do harm. I don't think a funeral...
Do you think Osama bin Laden really deserved to be... to rest in peace?
I know that they supposedly threw his body out to sea so that, again, there could be no sort of tampering with it. But if he had any family, yes, I think they deserved the opportunity to have a proper funeral for him according to their religion and mourn him if there was anybody that actually mourned him. I mean, I'm assuming the guy had to have someone that loved him.
If I were the monster, and there is no other word for it, if I were the monster that Osama bin Laden is or was, or the monster that Saddam Hussein was, or Adolf Hitler, I would firmly believe that I don't deserve the rights afforded to a normal person.
But that's the thing. They're dead. Once you're dead, it's not about you anymore. It's about the people that loved you, that are mourning you. Those, Osama's family, unless they were like in it with him. I know there's a lot of them.
Most of them were. There were some that there clearly were some that were, but most of his immediate family was involved in Taliban as well.
Yeah, I know some that weren't. I know of some that weren't. Once you're dead, that's your family's time to mourn you. The Boston bomber, aside from his brother, no one in his family was in on that with him. They deserve the opportunity to mourn their lost loved one. He might be hated the world over for what he did, but his family loved him, and they did nothing wrong.
I think that when you step over that line into that extreme act of terrorism, you have lost not only your rights, but you've also lost the respect that you, up until that moment, deserved. He no longer deserves our respect. He's lucky that he got a funeral at all instead of just thrown in the ground. He could have easily been thrown in a ditch.
Again, it's not for him. If he were alive, I'd say lock him up and throw away the key, torture him. I don't care what you do to them when they're alive, when they've done something like that. I honestly wish that we'd have got Osama bin Laden alive so we could have tortured him a bit. He got off easy, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not convinced it was him. I think that the reason they dumped his body at sea is it's not Osama bin Laden. I suspect he's been dead for years and they just didn't want to tell us. But it got to the point where they had to produce something. So they faked an assault and dumped somebody else in the water.
Why wouldn't they want to tell us?
Because war is profitable.
Whatever
at the time that he died, the war was still a good thing for America, as far as politicians were concerned. That's no longer the case. It was time to kill him.
Well,
I realize that sounds like tinfoil hat type thing, but I'm just saying.
Well, whatever the case, be it whether that was him or not, the fact of the matter is, had we caught him alive, I would have been all for torturing him. Forget the rules of war or whatever. Torture the son of a bitch. Once he's dead, we can no longer inflict pain on him or get information out of him. Then it's not about him anymore. It's about the ones he's left behind.
I think that it's the last act that we as a society can take towards an individual once they're dead is how we respect their remains. And if we show the disrespect towards their remains that they showed towards our people, then I think that's only right.
See, and I feel like, again, he doesn't care what we do to his remains, but his family might.
Well, tough on his family. Sucks to be his family.
I'm just saying, that's the way I see it, is once you're dead, you're not suffering anymore.
But, be that as it may, while you and I disagree fundamentally on that particular point, that doesn't give Westboro the right to picket anybody's funeral for any reason. Mm-mm. The person who died has nothing to do. And I think my biggest problem with the picketing of that Westboro participates in is they're picketing the strangest damn things. It's like, okay, there's a team in Oklahoma that vocally supports this NBA player coming out. God struck down Oklahoma. I'm not sure that that's how God works.
You think?
The shootings, the senator that got shot. I can't think of her name right now.
Gabrielle Gifford.
Yeah, her. They were picketing the funerals of the people that died in that attack because God hates homosexuals. What? You're in Arizona. There was no homosexuals in Arizona. They got ran out years ago. That's a joke, but still, they're picketing the wrong things. I mean, if you're gonna do it, at least pick targets that make sense. go to Washington and picket Congress, because that's where they're still discussing the gay rights up in Congress right now. Go to the town halls of not town halls, but the state capitals of the states that have legalized gay marriage. Picket the state capitals. Why would you picket somebody's funeral? It just seems pointless.
I'd kind of like to see him picket a funeral in Texas.
Oh, they get fucking shot.
Exactly.
I think they know better.
In Texas, there's always a gun.
Although they actually did, they had announced that they were going to picket Chris Kyle's funeral. Chris Kyle, the Navy SEAL sniper, the America's hero.
Yeah.
The current version of G.I. Joe, basically. He is G.I. Joe. And they were going to picket his funeral, and they kept all the details secret because of it. Though that, and they didn't really want to deal with the crowds because a lot of people wanted to turn out just to be there. But can you imagine? All these people from all over the country were coming into Dallas and Austin to honor this man, and Westboro Baptist Church was going to picket it. There'd have been a riot. They wouldn't have just been run out of town. There'd be dead Westboro Baptist Church members.
They'd be run out of town in a hearse.
Yeah. So, in that particular situation, they probably made the best choice not trying to find it. They didn't try real hard. But yeah, there's these fucking idiots. Like I said, I support their right to say what they want to say and do what they want to do to an extent. Yes, they've picked some wrong targets.
I support their right to say what they want to say. I don't like them using the cover of religion to do it.
Well, and unfortunately, these idiots honestly believe what they're saying. That's the scary part. They believe it. It's just as scary as a brony thinking he's engaged to a plush doll.
Yeah.
They believe that they're right, and I can't possibly fathom a deity, regardless of who he is or she is, supporting this kind of thought process. Yeah, they're gonna be shocked when they get to hell. I'm just saying. Of course, this is the same reason that I hope that the rapture comes in my lifetime. I know that I'm not going to be swooped up in the rapture, but I'm looking forward to hanging out with the Westboro Baptist Church folk. As soon as the rapture hits, I am making a beeline for Westboro Baptist Church. You know why? Because I'm going to sit outside and laugh at them as they come in and out of their church going, "What happened to us? Why did we get left behind?" Because you're a bunch of fucking bigoted, idiotic, hypocritical, racist bastards. That's why. And you're raising your children in an environment that is fueled by hate. And that's just wrong.
Hallelujah, amen.
That's not what, even, and I am, fundamentally, I am a Christian. That is my core belief. And even I know that he didn't climb up on that cross and die for our sins so that you could just trash all these individuals just because they happen to do it differently than you do. That's not what he was there for. The whole message was, give peace a chance and love one another. That's all it was.
Judge ye not.
Yeah, be good to each other. Be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted might say. That's all that was the entire message. Party on and be excellent to each other. Nobody seems to get that. Or too many people, too few people seem to get it. Anyway, I'm sorry I took over your soapbox again.
Nope, you summed that up perfectly.
Anyway.
And on that note, it's time for...
Wait. Is that it? That's not it?
No, that's not it. Let's try it again. It's time for... Doctor Who?
That's not it either, is it?
It's not Doctor Who time.
Oh.
That's in November.
Oh, really? Damn.
It's time for...
Skulls, I'm broadcasting.
That's not it either?
No. One more time.
I'll get this right. Hang on.
It's time for... I'm taking the soundboard away from you.
That's completely wrong, isn't it?
It's time for... There we go.
There we go.
Now you got it?
All right. I'm going to go first. It's still my birthday. Flicks Picks this week. I have chosen, and this really shouldn't surprise any of you, I have chosen a couple of selections from the sci-fi end of the spectrum. Specifically, Star Trek The Next Generation, which is always fun. It's 7 years worth of awesome adventures through space. Let's face it, the crew of the Enterprise were pretty cool. I've also chosen Star Trek The Original Series. Now, I want to make this clear. In my opinion, Star Trek The Original Series is a better show. Picard is a better captain. Jean-Luc Picard was a better captain of the Enterprise. The original series was a better written show, in my opinion. You have to kind of ignore the special effects and all that, because special effects were better in the late 80s than they were in the late 60s. But the show was written better. It had better plots, better drama, things like that. But just my opinion. They're both good. And you've got a chance to see, in fact, you can see all the Star Trek series and even some of the movies. You've got a chance to watch them. I recommend watching them. And then my last pick, and this should also not come as a surprise to anyone, is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Arguably the best Star Trek movie prior to the relaunch, or alternate universe, as they like to call it. And it's surprising how good it is, considering it's coming on the heels of what is arguably the worst Star Trek movie ever made. Worse than any of the Next Generation movies, worse than Star Trek V. The original motion picture was terrible. It is not that good of a film. It has its moments, but not many of them. If you've never sat down and watched the Star Trek series of movies, it's worth it to watch all of them at least once. At least once. But if you have seen them and you just want to watch one, watch the best. Watch Wrath of Khan. Great movie. But I do recommend finding the Khan episode from the original series first, so you know what's going on. Anyway, that's my 3 picks. Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek The Original Series, and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Okay.
I, too, picked a genre to go with, although it's not sci-fi.
Shocker. I bet you went chick flick, right?
No, actually.
Fucking Notebook and shit.
No. Although the Notebook's on there, it totally would be a pick. It's like the best movie of all time. But I digress. No, I've been...
The views of Scylla do not necessarily reflect the views of Chuck.
I have been, just completely obsessed with stand-up comedy lately.
More so than usual?
To the point that, I don't know if you knew this about me, but typically I can't sleep with the TV on.
I did not know that about you.
It has to be
I can't either.
Totally dark, totally quiet. I don't know what's going on. It's my weird insomnia sleep patterns. I don't even venture to guess. But I'm going through a phase right now where I can only lay down and go to sleep if the TV is on. Which is
PMS.
Very bizarre for me.
It's PMS.
And specifically, it's comforting to me if there is a familiar stand-up comic playing in the background.
It's PMS.
Whatever. I don't know what it is. So, you could only rewatch Gabriel Iglesias and Titus and Jeff Dunham so many times before you need to branch out and find other specials to watch again. So I've seen all these before, but I've recently gone back and watched them on Netflix over the past couple of nights, and they're great. First, 1st is Ron White, You Can't Fix Stupid. Ron White doesn't have a lot of different specials out there, but the ones he does have are great. And You Can't Fix Stupid is definitely one of the better stand-up specials I've seen from any comic. It's very funny.
That's the one with the story about Squirrel Boy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is a pretty good one.
And the cheese wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good one.
So, not appropriate for kids. I'll tell you that right now. This is something for mommy and daddy to watch after Junior goes to sleep. But very funny.
Or if you're a kid and you're listening to this, you probably should watch it after mommy and daddy go to sleep.
Yes.
And in the quiet of your own personal room.
Yeah.
Don't laugh too loud.
Keep the TV down.
That's right. Be sneaky. Not that we would condone that.
No. I'm a teacher. What are you talking about? I don't condone sneaking behind parents' backs. I don't even sneak behind my own parents' back ever. Ever.
You're a liar.
So,
I won't point out specific examples of how I know you're a liar, because that would just get you in trouble. But you're a liar.
So anyway, my next two picks both come from Bill Engvall, who is one of my top favorite comics ever. Here's Your Sign Live and Aged and Confused. Both.
Really? Not 15 Degrees Off Cool? See, I like that one better than I like Aged and Confused. I like them both, but I prefer 15 Degrees Off Cool.
I like 15 Degrees Off Cool, but I don't think it has as much rewatchability.
The story about the moped, specifically.
That's a good one. I can't rewatch that one the same way I can Aged and Confused.
Fair enough.
It lacks the rewatchability the other two have. Although, absolutely, anything by Bill Engvall is definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it.
Or if it's been a while since you've seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything he does.
Part of rewatchability is how long has it been since I've seen this? Can I, if it's only been a week, you may not laugh as hard as you would 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah, and that might be part of it. I've seen 15 Degrees Off Cool many times.
And at least one of those was fairly recently, I assume.
No, actually,
really?
It's been quite a while.
Oh, okay.
Whereas with the Titus stuff, I've just watched all of those, and I've been through almost all of them again. Like, I can rewatch those pretty frequently.
With the exception of Neverlution, I would agree.
Yeah.
Neverlution had the least rewatchability. It's still funny, but only once.
What I really want, and if anybody knows a way to get this, let me know. I want the Titus TV series, and I've checked Hulu, I have checked Netflix, I've checked every place I can think of to find a place to watch it.
I think you pretty much have to buy them on DVD if you want to watch it.
They're out of print.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm. So
sucks to be you.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to watch these. So, Titus, if you happen to be watching and you have some extra copies, send them my way. But I love Titus. But anyway, so those are my picks for the week.
All right. Carrying on. Carry on my wayward son. Sorry. That's no Chuck, bad.
That song always makes me think of Guitar Hero. I like playing that on Guitar Hero.
I like playing Greengrass and High Tides, although I believe that one's Rock Band. It's not Guitar Hero. Greengrass and High Tides is one of the best songs to ever play on one of those games because it's like 19 minutes long. I mean, it's not that long. It's like it is 9 minutes long though. It's I think it's 8 minutes and change.
Freebird wears me out.
Yeah, Freebird and Greengrass and High Tides will wear you out.
I'm just exhausted after Freebird.
Yeah.
If I want to play Freebird, it has to be the only thing I do in that session.
Over the years, I've really built up a really good endurance in my right wrist, but my left wrist can't really. So fingering the buttons, I wear out faster than flicking the strumming the guitar itself. But that's because I've built up a really good endurance in my right wrist. Come on, that was funny. There are people watching this right now going, God damn, that's funny.
I'm not laughing at that.
Yeah, that's okay. Jill will laugh at it. That's all that matters.
Whatever. So, I lost my train of thought.
Choo-choo. That was a terrible train. Oh my God, that was a train.
Choo-choo.
That was a terrible train that I just did. Chicka, 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 chicka. Why do all trains say chuck a lot?
Yes.
Chicka, 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 chicka. They say my name all the time.
No, they don't. They don't say chuck. They say chug.
No. They're saying chuck.
Chugga,
Chugga,
chugga.
chugga, 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 choo choo. Oh. Thank you very much. Hey, there's my terrible Elvis impression.
God.
I have a lot of terrible impressions. I won't get into all of them right now, but I can terribly impersonate damn near anybody.
Batman.
I'm Batman. See? Terrible.
I did an Iron Man impression at Walmart that was awesome.
Yeah, you saw me running to get my camera, right? No.
I am Iron Man.
You are a crazy woman.
Okay, that too.
So anyway, I think it's about that time.
Yeah, time to wrap up.
We have reached the end of our allotted time for JoF TV this week.
Yes.
I'm having a good time doing it this way.
Me too. This is great.
Now, with us sitting in the same room, it loses a little bit of its effect. But I would like to see us find a way to do this in high def eventually. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe do it like an in studio type thing. Have a camera set up at a table with us actually looking at each other.
We'll work on it.
We have thoughts. We just don't know how long it'll take to make them happen.
So check out JoF TV.
Yep.
Check out our store, Cafe Press. Buy some of our shit.
We don't have shit. We have stuff. Everybody else has shit.
Spread the word of the Jackalope. Show your Jackalope pride.
That's right. Go check it out. cafepress.com/jackalopes of fire. It's got all of our it's got our logo on a bunch of different merchandise. Go check it out. Tell us if there's something missing and you want to see it, tell us and we'll try to get it on there.
Makes great gifts.
Yeah, it makes great gifts for your loved ones and even your hated ones.
Dress up your baby in a Jackalope Safari onesie.
There you go.
He or she will be the envy of the daycare.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, so YouTube.com has JoF TV going forward. So keep an eye on that for updates as we post them.
It is youtube.com/JoF TV. However, you can find links to all this stuff on the new jackalopesafire.com.
Yep. The all-new jackalopesafire.com launching today. In fact, launched by the time you see this.
Yep.
The Cafe Press, Twitter, Facebook. Send us
We're
feedback.
everywhere these days.
That's right. We're infiltrating your minds. Send us feedback as always. We love to hear your comments, questions, and concerns. And if it's interesting enough, we'll talk about it on the air. So if you have something you want us to talk about on the air, tell us. We'll talk about anything, obviously. And that's it. That's our normal spiel. Thanks for watching JoF TV. Thanks for listening to the Jackalope's Fire podcast. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody. No, really. Bye, everybody. Go away. We're done.
Turn it off.
Oh, I have to turn it off? Oh.